We're live.
Welcome to this North-South live during the World Cup final. Darren, I don't even think like 4 years ago, South Africa, the internet and stuff penetrated far enough for people to be able to even do stuff like this. For example, to have like Showmax running on one side with an iPad and like, a live setup and stuff, how easy it is now. It's like quite a privilege to be alive in 2019, just do stuff like this for fun, eh?
Yeah, I think we are kind of privileged to be able to do this and be able to sit on opposite sides of the planet, watching the same game live. Yeah, it's kind of quite nice to be able to do that. And yeah, we're just doing this one as a kind of fun little experiment. Because yeah, we both enjoy, should I say, love our cricket. And it is the Cricket World Cup final today. England taking on New Zealand at Lords. New Zealand won the toss and elected to bat. And there was quite a bit of rain actually this morning, about an hour and a half worth of rain at Lords. So it made the decision, I think, even more tricky. I think if it wasn't for the rain, yeah, I think both teams would have wanted to bat first, but with the rain, I think it would have probably made you think twice. Um, yeah, maybe a bit of moisture in the wicket, and yeah, you don't know what the ball's going to do. So yeah, Kane Williamson elected to bat first, and yeah, New Zealand got off to relatively okay start, and then Guptill went. I think he made 19 or so, 19 of 18 balls. He had a great little six over third man, or third man region, and then after that hit a four straight down the ground past Jofra Archer. And yeah, currently New Zealand sitting at 127 for three. Kane Williamson's out as well for about 30 odd. And then Henry Nicholls made 50 before going out. And yeah, currently at the crease is Ross Taylor 9 and just gone to 10. And Latham is on 6.
Yeah,
What are your
I
thoughts?
feel like, well, you basically summed up the beginning of the day. I was half asleep. I was in Sunday mode for half the morning, so I only started watching maybe like the 10th over. I listened honestly. I thought New Zealand had already thrown it away by then. Their run rate was sitting at 4. Um, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna say what comes to my mind. I feel like if JP Duminy really, I don't know what he did to mess up his career. He could have been like Ross Taylor if
Yeah,
he really did put in the
definitely.
hard work. I guess he did put in the hard work, but let me digress and get back to what we were going to discuss. Um, like for Guptill, right? I think that run out in the last match did everything it needed to for his morale, man. If you look at his dismissal in the previous match, I think it was against England. He like went out for whatever one or whatever, and he went upstairs and started trashing everything, started throwing his helmet and things like that. You could see when your senior players are like that, like the team's morale is gonna dip. But I think that run out for me was a very pivotal moment. If I'm looking at today, I think New Zealand, man, they're really gonna struggle because as I look at it now, Ross Taylor looks to be in Ross Taylor mode. We can't expect anything special from him. He's going at less than a run a ball. But yeah,
But
just before,
I think
go on, sorry.
that's what you got to kind of do now in these middle overs. Is just kind of rotate the strike, make sure that you getting those ones and twos, and hopefully get like 4 or 5 runs off and over. Um, Especially until about the 40th over or so. Get yourself
Yeah,
to about 180, and
I was
then
just
launch
thinking
for the
about
last
that.
10.
I was just thinking about that. And I was wondering whether that was maybe the one day cricket we were raised on was to cruise in the middle overs, try and keep those wickets for the later overs. But if you look at the total now, even if you reach 320, it's not an untouchable. It's not an untouchable total. Before, when we were growing up and watched most of our one day cricket, 300 was untouchable. You needed to have a special day to reach 300. 280 was a decent score. 260, you needed a bit of luck. That's completely changed in less than 5 or 6 years because of T20. So you need to smash in middle overs as well, man. You need to smash in beginning, crazy in middle overs, and go absolutely berserk in the last few. You see a lot of teams go on target to reach like 400 regularly, but they throw it away because they don't do what you were mentioning, which is retain wickets in the middle overs.
yeah, you make it sound like we're really old in that, but when we were young back in the day, we're not that young. I mean, old,
Darren,
yes.
Darren, you might have a problem with saying that, but like for me, some of the cricket we watched was we remember the 2003 World Cup pretty clear. We still
In
have
our
like jerseys
teens,
and stuff from
in
it.
our
But
teens.
Darren, that was like 16 years ago, man. Like people have been born and become teenagers since we watched that cricket World Cup.
Well,
So
there's
yeah, we
if you Mujib from Afghanistan is what he was born in 2001 or something, and he played in the World Cup. Like,
okay,
yeah,
okay. Yeah, I was working the other day with some stuff and I came across ID numbers from 2000. I was like, what are these weird numbers? Never seen these ID numbers before being employed. It was
yeah,
very, very bizarre. But yeah, they were born in 2000 and they're now working. So
yeah.
that,
And I
that
also
just
think
happened.
with just with this game as well, the pitch looks like it could be a bit too paced. So yeah, we'll have to just wait and see. Obviously, England still needs to bat. So the total, it's when what was versus the New Zealand India game. If you just look at that, like after New Zealand had batted and made what 240 odd, everyone was like, okay, India's gonna wipe the floor with them.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, New Zealand won, and they managed to defend 240, which is yeah, I think on those World Cup, it's probably only under 30% of the time that's happened when yeah, defending any score under 250. Um, so yeah, it could also be the pitch playing a part. But yeah, like you say as well, it's all teams are aiming at like 400. If you just look at like this World Cup, how many scores have gone over 300 and how more easily the teams have got there, you kind of just wonder when who's going to be the first to score 500 in a ODI game. Because that day is coming. It's just when. And yeah, hopefully we'll be able to watch that game because I can only imagine getting 500 in a ODI game. That's if someone told us when we were growing up that was
No
possible,
way,
we
man.
would laughed at them.
That's impossible. I still think it's impossible. But yeah, it's just sorry, I was just looking at some stuff. Yeah, I just wanted to discuss with you like in South Africa, there's quite a monopoly on cricket broadcast. Did you just that was a bit of a crazy direct hit there?
Oh, that was a
Oh, okay.
highlight.
Was
Yeah,
that a highlight from there? Sorry, I
yeah,
was busy looking at two screens. I thought
yeah. That was
there's no way that could have happened all over again, looking exactly the same.
no, yeah. That
Um,
was Martin
but yeah,
Guptill's
I
run out
wanted
from
to discuss
last
with
game.
you. I wanted to discuss with you like so like in South Africa, there's a huge monopoly on cricket broadcast before. You needed to get DStv Premium basically to watch most of the games. But now Showmax, they've just added most of the best cricket games like on live. So that's
That's
pretty
pretty good.
affordable, man. Yeah, so they've basically cracked the market wide open. What's it like in the UK if you are a diehard cricket fan, like then you'd need premium in South Africa, so to speak?
Yeah, actually, that's quite interesting because you can get Showmax here as well in the UK. So I could probably get that and get Live Sport, which is a lot more, probably a lot more reasonable than Sky over here. So yeah, all cricket here is not free. It's all either on BT Sport or Sky Sports. And the Sky Sports packages, or the Sky Sports channels are a lot worse than SuperSport, I would say. They don't show as much. There's not as much variety to choose from, um, and probably for your 8 channels, you're looking at probably paying close on to what your DStv compact price is for per month, kind of thing, just for 8 channels. So it's quite pricey. A lot of people don't have sports channels here because it costs so much. A lot of people just go to the pubs and local cafes, whatever kind of thing, and watch it there. Um, so yeah, I kind of treated myself for the World Cup and bought the Sky package, which is kind of nice. Look, one thing is you can buy here is like just month to month. So you can buy for a month, you can buy for a set time. You can either buy for a day, a weekend, a week, or a month at a time. Um, so yeah, that's one sense, it's quite nice. But yeah, they definitely have a big monopoly here.
Yeah. Just a bit of a live update. Yeah, it looks like they're doing what you said they should do. I remember people usually say when you
Call me
reach
the
the
cricket
30th.
coach.
Yeah, I remember when you reach around the 30th, you should look to double from there.
Well,
270, Darren. Not gonna do it, eh? Some prediction anyway, quite early on here. I think England's still on course if they just maintain their nerve. But Darren, are they? What's the feeling like there? Are people nervous,
I
or
think
is
it
there
is.
more excitement?
I think it is quite a bit of nerves, and that obviously, yeah, all the pressure of having the World Cup in your home, home country. A lot of fans are saying cricket is coming home, with reference to the famous football song. So yeah, I think the pressure's all on England really, and they are carrying themselves quite well at the moment. Obviously, you don't know how they are personally and that. And if you just look at the Bairstow and Roy, like the confidence that they batted with in the semi-final, yeah, they came out and they kind of looked to demolish the score from ball one. They didn't look to think, yeah, let's just get this total within the 50 overs. They were trying to get there within 20 overs. Um, so yeah, I would say that England are
Do you
probably
think?
the more,
Do you
yeah,
think? Sorry to interrupt, but projected score 7 runs per over get them to 260. Think they can? Are there any big hitters coming up in your opinion for New
yeah.
Zealand?
There's Jimmy Neesham. He's a very good
Mm,
head of the ball. He got 97 not out not too long ago in one of the games. There's Colin Grandhome, also big hitter. But of those two, kind of on their day, they aren't very consistent. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so imagine if today's the day, Darren, national
well,
hero time. Because I think the Black Caps struggle a bit for like, how can I say, like attention? Because the Black Caps just rule absolutely everything. But this would go a long way in getting them into like,
well, yeah.
the
If you just
hemisphere.
look at that semi-final from 2015, South Africa versus New Zealand. And Grant Elliott hitting a six off the final ball when 3 runs were needed or something like that to win the game for them, and he became like a superstar.
Yep.
So yeah, they have done it before. Now they're just doing it at one level up in the World Cup final. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think they'll probably look to launch if neither of these two go out within the next 7 overs. They kind of have to. They've got to push to try get between that 270 300 mark. But yeah, like Nish has said in the comments, the pitch is looking a bit green. So that is a good sign for the fast bowlers. And if you look at the New Zealand pace attack, it's probably the best pace attack in the tournament so far with Matt Henry, Lockie Ferguson, and Trent Bolt. Those three are deadly together. Lockie Ferguson,
Also already an all-time great, like we said in our greatest ODI podcast,
yeah,
ODI
and
11.
Lockie Ferguson, yeah, pushing that ball at probably 155 k's an hour, most balls. Yeah, you got to be really on your toes to be keeping that out.
Yeah. Um, yeah, we wanted to discuss as well because as we were also talking about before we came on live, how BBC has an absolute lockdown on even ball-to-ball commentary, which I didn't know, which is
Well,
quite
the
silly.
ICC, the
Or the
ICC.
ICC. Yeah, that's quite silly. I didn't actually know that you can't say like while it's alive what's happening ball to ball. But they've just put all kinds of sawdust on the pitch now. What's the reason for that?
Oh, it's just obviously where there's been wet patches, because obviously the rain, there might have been some that seeped through the covers and that, and you don't want your ankles to twist and
Okay.
break when in your run up.
And we just saw Stokes as well. I think his calf or something got cramped up. He slid. I mean, he dove. I don't see how your cramp would get hurt from how your calf would get hurt from that. So obviously just cramping up.
Yeah, it could be. I think that's probably one of the reasons why these.
Oh, I see clouds, Darren. I see a lot of clouds.
Yeah, don't worry, it's England. That's always like that. So yeah, I think that's probably why he hasn't bowled earlier. He's only bowling now after 30 overs. probably because of that little injury in that, and they can't really afford to lose Ben Stokes if he can't bat.
Just quick, now that you say that, what is your take after a few years of having the no runner rule? I don't remember people really abusing that, so to
No,
speak. You
I,
shouldn't have taken it out because, yeah, I guess guys like Inzi and to a certain extent like Smith at one point sort of would bring them on for just a little bit of a cramp and stuff
yeah,
because
kind
you
of
could
milked
get
it.
yeah, you could get like you could choose like AB coming out for you to run. In that case, you definitely have an advantage. And I remember even are they going to have a thing now where they're unhappy about substitute fielders? I remember Ponting's very unhappy about when he got caught spectacularly off a substitute fielder. You think that rule is now going to run onto that because teams take advantage of it?
No, I don't think so. I think that's pushing it a bit much. Oh, just looking here, last time since, or yeah, been like 60 odd balls before the last boundary. That's quite interesting. So quite slow
Yeah,
going.
taking your middle or taking your relaxed middle overs batting to the extreme there. No
Yeah,
boundaries whatsoever, just running it out. But they are getting singles pretty regularly. I see in the last over like pretty much a
yeah,
single a ball there.
yeah. That's pretty much run a ball there, 6, 7 runs off the last over. But yeah,
Yeah,
getting back to what you were saying,
yeah.
uh, yeah, I think you have to be able to have substitutes in that because well, as we speak, Jofra Archer's walking off now. You need players to be, cricket, you do get hurt in cricket and that, so you do need players that are available immediately, basically, to ensure that you keep that your 11 playing kind of thing. So I would actually go in the opposite direction and think that if someone gets injured during a game, that you could have a substitute player. So say someone or one of your opening batsmen, gets hurt out in the field in the first 15 overs of a game and he can't bat, then you can actually substitute a batsman in for him, kind of thing. I think that should be, uh, a rule kind of thing because, it kind of really, it swings the balance quite a bit. It makes, I think, life a lot difficult for those teams that lose big players quite early on in a game and then have to kind of push through with 10 players instead of 11. Um, and you have to have substitute fielders. You people have injuries. People need to go off for different reasons. You never know when you need a toilet break or something like that. And Wicket just, whoa, yeah, that's
Well, he's
been
given
given
that.
out.
I think it's
Uh,
out. I don't think he'll review that. It looked pretty plumb.
yep, he's walking off. Ross Taylor gone for 15.
He's actually running off. First time
Uh,
I've seen someone just pretty much keep running after LBW. That's how plumb that was.
Mo-
Like I said, Darren, I call that one a little bit Ross Taylor syndrome, JP Duminy syndrome. When it's time to start accelerating, there you go, bound,
that was,
bound to walk off.
looked quite high.
Oh,
But
it does look quite high, but he's falling over as well.
yeah, and he just walked off anyway. So that puts New
Doesn't really
Zealand in a
matter, yeah.
bit more of trouble. Be interesting to see who they send out now. Mark Wood, he's doing pretty well this World Cup. Quite a lot of pace and quite accurate, and getting the ball to move quite a bit as well, which it doesn't really happen with the white ball. So that's quite interesting.
Yeah. So switching to some news that no one's talking about, which includes the Proteas because they're like really irrelevant at the moment, rightfully so. Graham Smith, next coach maybe. Graham Smith liable to put on the pads and just walk out at certain points if you get him in there right now. What do you think? I think excellent. Just they should never have taken him out the fold. They should have done exactly what Australia did. Keep longevity in the team culture. Keep that gears going. The team chants. Because like now, if you look at it, the guys who were in the '08 England series, basically there's no one left. So the same traditions they had then, you couldn't follow through. But if you look at guys like Ponting, who's in the Australian camp now, he could have implemented stuff that were happening in the early '90s when he first came in, which is war days,
Yeah,
Steve War days. So we don't have that at the moment. I mean,
yeah,
I
it's
don't I don't see Herschel doing too much with his time on Twitter and stuff like that, and on Insta. Why not get someone like him in there? He looks like he jacked those young players up, eh?
Yeah, I think Kevin Peterson also made a post about it a few weeks ago, saying that South Africa needs to kind of keep, or I don't know if it was aimed at South Africa, but I think it was, keep some of the past players in the fold, like you say. And yeah, you kind of look at some of the great South Africa's lost over the last, I don't know, 10 years. You say Graham Smith, who was probably one of our best captains ever, a great leader, just a natural kind of leader, given the leadership at a very young age, and yeah, kind of ran with it, and he became, yeah, it's not everyone's cup of tea. I think he's can be a bit stubborn in that, but a good leader nevertheless. Look at the likes of Jacques Callis, your Gary Kirstens, your Sean Pollocks, Alan Donalds, Mackay Antini's. Yeah, the list goes on. AB de Villiers, all these great players, legends of the game, that aren't in the fold. So that for our South Africa current coaching staff, we've got Dale Benkenstein. Um, yeah, I think he played a bit of county cricket, played first class cricket in domestic in South Africa. I don't think most people know who he is. And you've got Claude Henderson, also another first class player, as bowling coach. And you like wonder, is this really what the best we can do? So yeah, it's yeah, we definitely do need to do a lot more to ensure that those world class players are kept in some way or another. Just offer them a whole bunch of money or something. I don't know, because they do offer a lot of insight, knowledge. They've been there, they've done it. And like you say, you look at some of the big teams, your Australia. If you look at them now, Justin Lang is the head coach. You've got Ricky Ponting there as the batting coach. It's just those names, yeah, ring fear to teams. So yeah, South Africa definitely has to do a lot more and a lot of quick thinking. I'll
Yeah,
be surprised if they keep Otis Gibson.
yeah, I don't think we should. I saw an article that said Faf backs Imran Tahir to keep going. Do you think that? Do you? Sorry if we just stop speaking. Just also trying to watch the final as well. Do
Made
you think
made a
that?
wicket over.
Mm, that's what you need at this point in time. The run rate's sluggish, man. You can't really say that in
Just
one
over
day.
four over.
Yeah, in one day cricket, you can't really do that. You're gonna
No,
struggle.
you
Um,
can. I think you can do that in today's game because you can launch. You can get like over 120 in 10 overs if you go in your T20 mode. So it's yeah, 4 and over is okay at the moment. It's just what happens afterwards that really will dictate how things go.
yeah. What do you think about Tahir staying? I think he should stay. He looks pretty fit and young.
Yeah, for a 40-year-old, he seems quite sprightly.
But I
Um,
mean, he's still available for tests and stuff, right?
I'm not too sure, but it's just I wonder what's going to happen when he goes because we don't really have a great spinner to replace him. I know Shamsi's pretty decent, but he's not to Tahir's level. Um, and you've got Kesha Maharaj, who's okay.
He's super run of the mill, man. He's super run of the mill. He's not bad in any way, shape, or form, but he's
But it's
not.
not great.
Yeah, I don't want to say he doesn't have that X factor that people like Tahir have,
Yeah,
and that our ex spinners like. I can't even say Paul Harris had it. He's sort of a Paul Harris. Let's put it that way.
yeah,
A
yeah,
right-handed Harris.
yeah. I think Tahir is obviously probably our best spin bowler we've had for, geez, I don't know, quite a long time.
No, I don't think we've ever had a dominant leg spin. I mean, what was Paul Adams? What was Paul Adams?
He was a left arm Chinaman, so left arm leg spin kind of thing. Um, so yeah, but if I was also yeah, another point I wanted to bring up was the cold plaque players.
Yeah.
Simon
Wait,
Harmer.
Darren Nish says that when he takes off after he takes wickets, that's what keeps him looking so fit. Gets all
Yeah,
that extra cardio in.
yeah. that extra 1 mile he runs around the ground. Yeah. But yeah, like Simon Harmer,
Getting
who's a
getting
cold
to
pack.
some poker. Darren, but Kyle Abbott's the one that hurts me the most because we did him so bad in that World Cup.
Yeah,
You can't really blame him for being like I'm going. One of the very rare cricketers who bowls a heavy ball, like Jacques Kallis and a couple others like Shane Watson and stuff. Just so hard to find those guys that just keep coming on and break partnerships.
yeah. Oh, 4 runs. The Nishan four.
Finally, a boundary.
Yeah.
Finally, just about not a boundary as well.
Um, yeah, if you look at Simon Harmer, he played quite a bit for the Warriors and that, and had a bit of a short stint with the South African side. Played a few tests and ODIs and that. I think mainly tests. But now he's just ripping it up here in county cricket. I think he plays for Essex, and he's got 57 wickets so far in the county championship after like 10 games, at an average of like 17 or something like that. Like amazing figures. Um, and yeah, you look at the likes of Abbott. Yeah, he's got 43 wickets so far. I think he's probably fourth or fifth on the list in Division One. I think it is. Um, and yeah, you've got the likes of the batting side. You've got Riley Rousseau and your Stean van Zales and all that kind of stuff, who are getting pretty decent runs. And yeah, it's just kind of sad that when they sign these deals and that, they kind of have to throw away their chances for playing. Back to back is another boundary. Um, for playing for South Africa.
Your
Surely,
big hitter, your big hitter you mentioned, Darren Neesham,
yes,
so he's coming on
yeah.
to accelerate things.
Um, yeah, like in rugby, with all the players that play overseas and that, they're still able to play for the Springboks, even though they play their club rugby elsewhere in the world. So why can't you do the same basically for cricket? Why can't they play for their county side and decide when they're available to play for the Proteas? So yeah, it's quite an awkward one and unfortunate for South Africa. Um,
Yeah, and then we saw like those teams that came fifth, sixth, miss out because of net run rate. What's your
yeah.
take on that method? And maybe for people who don't understand, what exactly is it?
Well, I've actually haven't looked at the whole equation on what they use to figure out the net run rate.
Wouldn't it just be like wouldn't it just be like net wouldn't it just be like your run rate when you're batting versus the run rate when you're bowling? And if there's a difference plus or minus, something like that maybe?
It's something along those lines. But yeah, the main team that really suffered from it was Pakistan because they had such a horrible opening game versus the West Indies that their net run rate was demolished before after game one, and that caused them to lose out on that fourth spot to New Zealand. Um, so yeah, obviously, there's a lot of people have said it needs to change, and there are better methods to verse run to replace the net run rate. One of them being head-to-head games. So seeing the record versus the teams that are vying for a spot. So in this case, it would be New Zealand versus Pakistan. Like what happened in that game? What happened in the other games? The other teams they played. Um, So yeah, I just think there's a better way to look at it because it is kind of unfair that your one bad game at the beginning of the tournament causes you to lose out on making it or going forward kind of thing, even though you've played like 6, 7 great games in a row. Um, but yeah, what are your thoughts?
I think they should completely scrap the net run rate and rather change the point system. So, like, you know how in Super Rugby you have bonus points? I think they should implement that. So, I think they should make it, for example, like 5 points for a win, um, and then just award bonus points. Because you can't give three and a bonus point shouldn't be worth 33% of a win, but it's definitely worth like 20% of a win or 15% of a win. So
Yeah,
if you within, say, I don't know, the really close ones, let's make it if you within 10 runs, bonus point. Or if you within something like that, you get awarded bonus points. Completely scrap the net run rate system. Because that in previous World Cups, I would have depended on versing the minnows. In some groups, there weren't any minnows per se, so your net run rate would obviously be lower. And the minnows, you could just get an incredibly high boost to your net run rate.
Yeah.
But I think more than that, the net run rate came in to separate teams with equal point score. Now, the main reason there's equal point scores because of the rained out games and because of the draws, because of those rained out games. Maybe we can look at some things in the UK. It surprises me quite a lot that the UK doesn't have at least one facility that's indoor, like maybe what's the one in Cardiff, Millennium Stadium, something
Yeah.
like that, where you could just have the final there and know that it's going to take place. Because if you look at South Africa, we have two games affected by rain. That could have determined a lot for us. If you think about it, especially morale-wise, we really needed that West Indies game. Could have changed everything given what ended up happening against Australia and seeing how we could play.
That was South Africa versus West Indies, yeah, in Southampton. That was rained off. Um, and one idea that was put forward by someone was getting drones to hold the tarpaulin over the ground and just hover there while.
Jeez, how advanced is the UK, Darren?
No,
Jeez. Is
I
that
think
realistic?
no, that was just a bit of
Okay.
satire.
Ah, shit.
Uh, but yeah, there are two other more realistic ones is to move the cricket game to an area that's where it's not raining. So, say it's raining in Manchester and the game's there, and the east of down east near London, it's not raining. Yeah, hop on a train and move the game down there. At least, yeah, obviously it'll affect tickets and that, but at least there will be a game of cricket, and yeah, it won't just be a tie and everyone shares a point each. Or alternatively, yes, then having or more reserve days. So even having reserve days, they only have reserve days now for the semi-final and final, but having them as well for group stage games, um, and probably then alternatively looking at getting a stadium that has a roof on it, which is probably going to be quite costly. But I'm pretty sure there are some engineers out there that could probably work out something where you can probably convert one of the stadiums that already exists to have a roof, some type of roof, whether it's steel structure or tarpaulin kind of thing. Because it does rain quite a bit in the UK, so yeah, you kind of need that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
stadium that you can. Yeah.
That- what everyone says is reserve days. That's not going to work because of the tight cricket schedule, especially for international players. You just can't have. It's the main reason why the cricket Test World Cup hasn't come to pass. That was years ago. That was like 2013. I think I saw it in the news being finalized by the ICC. Where
Well,
is
I
it?
think
It's
it's
been like
it's
six,
it's,
7 years.
still coming. It's still coming. I think it's supposed to happen in what 2020 or something like that. Um, so yeah, I think next year they're supposed to start the Test Championship. Um, but yeah, I don't think it's been finalized. Which will
What do you
yeah.
think? What do you think of a Test Championship? I'd love that, but you know what I'd love? I'd absolutely love all the teams to just show up in a country and just have it straight out flat. Have it once every 5 years if you have to stretch it out that much. But everyone needs to be in that country, and even if it takes 2 months, you have to have it. It's once every 5 years. Just clear the schedules for it.
Yeah,
That should be the best team in cricket is the winner of the Test Championship. You can't say it's the number one team because that changes all the time.
yeah, I think, and it's just what method you use. Do you use a league method? Do you use a knockout method?
I think
So
if you're going for a league, I think if you're going for a league method, just leave it as is. Um, just
that's
leave it as is. All around the world would just keep tally.
yeah, and then it just
Ensure a round robin rotation, home and away. Even if you have to run it over 2 years, you get awarded league champion, and that should be like the most prestigious thing. But to have this number one title floating around, and then as South Africans, we feel like we at one point we were the best team in cricket, but we have nothing to show for it except like a flippin' Investec flippin' trophy and
yeah.
some pictures of champagne and stuff.
Oh, quite a big six, I think. So
Yeah,
yeah,
late.
it seems like they're
Yeah,
putting down the foot now.
Yeah, Lathan going forward. Yeah, I think the word was it's time to accelerate. Darren is way too late. 36 overs, 154 for four. I mean, who do
No,
they
that's
think
fine.
they have? Do they think they have Pollard coming in next or something?
Let's go to Grant on.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, let's see what happens in the next few overs. Ooh, just before the boundary, so it's a 4. What we were saying?
Yeah, no, I have no idea. I just forgot. I don't know. At least we've discovered now it's kind of hard to watch
Yeah, the
what's
joys
going
of
on.
live
And like,
streaming.
yeah, I mean, because we're
Uh,
pretty interested in this game as well.
yeah, we're
Just getting
speaking
in a
about
bit of,
the league, like world championship and that. Like you say, if you have it over a year or something, and have it and 3 destinations. So, like, say, obviously India is going to be one of them. They have to have it, and then Australia and it's like England, where a group of teams where it's like the top 8 test playing nations each play in 2 groups or something like that, and then play uh, round robin games in 3 different locations, and then have like the top 2 teams play it for the final or something like that.
mm.
That something like that could work.
Yeah, Darren, two quick things. Uh, Good to see Plunkett running in so good, man. That guy's been around for donkey's years, dude.
I remember watching him play for the Dolphins uh, quite a few years ago. I think I was still in high school. I remember him, playing a season or 2 for them. I remember watching a game at the Pietermaritzburg Oval, and seeing him there. So for him to still be around and bowling in a World Cup final is
Yeah,
quite
kudos to
impressive.
him. Darren,
Uh,
you've watched a lot more games on TV, probably at the MCG. MCG closes, right? If I'm not mistaken.
uh, One of their grounds does. I'm not sure if it's the
I
MCG.
think someone hit the roof in my
Yeah,
memory. I think it was
it,
Hussey. Did Hussey hit the roof?
I can't remember if it was
What
him or
what
not.
happens if you hit the roof and it gets
Uh,
caught?
It was a no. I think it just becomes a no ball. It just becomes null and
That's
void.
unlucky.
Yeah.
That's
So
unlucky.
thankfully in that case, I think umpires. Well, I think it was the first of its kind, but they just ruled
Mm.
it as a no ball kind of thing. So nothing came of it.
And then another question linked to that is, you know those little things that are on the cables?
Yes,
Is there someone that moves that thing actively to make sure no one hits it? Because what happens if you hit that? No ball as well.
I would imagine so.
What do
Because
they
you
call it?
can't
No
really
ball or dead ball, Darren?
dead ball. Dead ball is probably the
Yeah.
right term. Sorry. Um, but you can't move those ones. So I definitely think it'll probably just be a dead ball if they do get hit.
Yeah, and you think that the UK or England's a lot better at ticketing systems given their subways and whatnot. The ticketing chaos for like the Pakistan versus West Indies game, for example.
Yeah, it was
You
it's
think
quite
England
quite
would
a
get that right after so many hosting events that they've hosted?
Yeah, it was quite strange to see articles and news and that coming out that there was major problems with ticketing. And the quite in that game particularly. I think it was, what was that, the second game of the World Cup, and people hadn't got their tickets yet, so they couldn't get entry into the ground. And because Pakistan did so dismally, by the time they did get into the ground, the game was over. Um, so it's was quite surprising. And there was also um, instances where they had told people that they had been awarded tickets, but they actually weren't given tickets, or they didn't get tickets in the ballot. Um, and then there's also now, even with the final, with tickets being resold at astronomical prices. I saw tickets. They had it on the news this morning. One site was offering tickets to this final today for, I think, was what is it, £3,000-4,000.
Jeez.
So it's like clamping down on that. So there's quite a few things that, from that perspective, that hasn't been so great, and they haven't been able to kind of manage well. But yeah, it's just
Um,
unfortunate.
yeah, but I mean, you're always going to get those people who are super organized. Like you get those traveling clubs from New Zealand and Australia. Most of the retirees. I just want to touch on that quick. Oh, imagine retiring and just following like whatever team around.
Yeah, it
That'd
must
be amazing. That's
be
the life. Eh? That's
great.
worth working for.
Yeah,
Um,
for that.
if every time Steve Smith or David Warner come in or go out, no matter what they've scored, a century, duck, whatever, the boos just ring out. I think
Yeah.
that's probably going to be par for the course. Maybe the rest of their careers. I'm definitely going to boo if I'm there. I'm not even going to lie. Why should I lie?
Well, yeah, I think so. It's they've kind of created. Oh, yeah, they've got this name now. And yeah, once they did their tampering and they kind of yeah owned up to it and that. Yeah, did they serve a long enough period out of the game for it? Was it too harsh? Who knows? But I think they always that cloud will always remain over hanging over their heads. Um, so yeah, and yeah, Glenn Maxwell in
Yeah,
the one
turning
game.
out his pocket. What do
Yeah,
you think about that? I think
yeah.
every Australian should be forced to do that before and after walking onto the field.
Oh, I don't think it's like I don't hold the same views. But yeah, it was just quite funny where the crowd were getting quite loud and their jeers and that. So he just literally took out his pockets and pulled them out and then kind of looked at the crowd and like held his hands like he doesn't have anything. So yeah, um, and yeah, good on the Aussies. Some of them are take it with a bit of pinch of salt and that. I did see uh, a circumstance as well with Warner who walked up over to the boundary rope. And I think I don't know if these bunch of guys were either giving him yeah some hate or they were just talking to him, but he stood there and ate some lays or out of a packet on the side of boundary, and then yeah proceeded to carry on fielding. So yeah, good on him for that. There was also Adam Zampa who early on in the tournament was also caught with his hands in his pockets for quite a while, long periods of times, and yeah, raised some questions. But it came out that he just had hand warmers, um,
Hmm.
yeah, in his pockets.
Well, it's easy to get rid of that suspicion. They should just have hand warmers like in the NFL, the ones that go in the front of you. And just put them like in the front of you like that. So you
Yeah,
can see if anything's coming in or out of it. But
yeah.
yeah, but I think the top run scorers and the top bowlers are already out of the World Cup. What do you think of the performance so far? Sharma, can we even give him like a lot of props? Because yeah, you can score all those hundreds, but then when your team needs you to score a 40 or a 50, hell, even a 20 in that match,
Yeah,
you go and edge it.
I don't think you can yeah pin it all on him as well. Obviously he failed dismally versus New Zealand. But before that he was Mr. Consistent. Three, 400s.
But Darren, sorry to interrupt. I watch a lot of American sport, and they are very, very harsh on people who do well when it doesn't count, and just fail when it does.
But
So,
he did do well. He did make hundreds and big games.
Darren, you're there to win the World Cup. You think Indian fans wouldn't have him instead of scoring 648? You think they wouldn't have had him score 48 runs in the 9 or 8 matches leading up to that and score a century in that one? And
Uh,
most of them would say yes. And then, so what does that mean?
you kind of
Does
sound
that mean
like a huge Indian supporter there.
I, even though I am Indian, for some reason I cannot support them. I really don't like. I don't want to say they're arrogant, but I feel like they are a bit arrogant. So I think that I don't know. I think if you look at the Instagrams and things like that, they do sort of do a lot of non-cricket related stuff, like going out in the town or whatever. And
Owning
yeah, I
restaurants
guess
and yeah.
yeah. Um, and I tend to look harshly upon teams that
Oh,
do well. Well,
Nisham's just gone for 19, trying to
yep.
loft the ball straight down the ground. So New Zealand's 173 for 5 after 39. Run rate is 4.4. So only 11 overs left, and one of their big hitters have gone. So yeah, trouble starting to
Yeah,
set now.
I think if you're looking for any sort of return on a bet, now would be the time to put some big cash on England. Uh, yeah, no, I was saying how harsh I look upon teams who do well when it doesn't count and then fail when they do it. And I am consistent because I say that about my own team, South Africa, all the time. So India tend to do that. They did it in a few World Cups, barring 2011.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think their players need to be a little bit more. It's basically whatever I said to the South African team, ditto to India. You need
yeah,
to keep
I,
those performances when it doesn't count. Work on your mentality so you can use your talent when it
yeah. I
actually
guess
does
so.
count.
But yeah, one of the more standout things is that first time in a World Cup where three players have all got over 600 runs, which is quite impressive. And then if you look at
Very impressive.
number three on that list, Shakib Al Hasan, for someone who was a lower order batsman or lower order all rounder, to be batting at number three, um, and to do so well. I was so impressed with his batting. It was amazing to
I
watch.
think I think the only other time I can remember a player being at a certain level for so many years, closing on a decade, and then suddenly improving drastically is maybe Tilakaratne Dilshan. Maybe he was a top to middle order batsman for about 8 or 9 years, and suddenly made a few tweaks to his game and just took off in terms of big hitting and went to the top five in the world, no doubt. The end of his career. But the nice thing that you see about Shakib is the consistency. That's what Bangladesh need. They just need to keep that going. The country has the passion. They've got the population. They've got the backing for it. So yeah. I just see something pop up on the screen there. That guy in the costume. What is that thing coming out the top of his head? Is that an animal, Darren? What's
That's a
going on in the UK? Oh, is that a kiwi?
Yes, that's a Kiwi costume.
Oh, okay. Okay, my bad.
Yeah. But yeah, and Shakib, I think, also got 11 wickets as well. So yeah, just cementing his place as probably the best all rounder in the world at the moment.
Of course.
I think he's been there for quite a while. So yeah, it's always good to see, and it was nice to see Bangladesh do so well, even if it came at the cost of South Africa losing a game versus them. Um, yeah, they were yeah just short of making the semi-finals. Really, they one or two of the big games just swung in the wrong direction for them. But the biggest standout was how they beat West Indies for me. The West Indies made what 330 odd versus Bangladesh in the group game, and yeah, I think it was Shakib Al Hasan and then Linton Das who came out and made an unbeaten partnership of like 200 or something like that. And they just slaughtered them. And with about 7 overs to spare or something, they got the 330 runs. So that was just amazing to see.
Yeah.
Um,
What do
and
you
then
think? What do you think Latham needs to do now? Do you think he needs to anchor, or do you think he needs to go for it?
he has to anchor. He has to stay there till the end. Really, he's just got to rotate the strike, get de Grandin on strike. And just kind of make sure that the strikers or the runs are flowing. The ones he has to focus is getting the ones. Let the Grandin focus on getting the boundaries, and then take it as it comes. Because now with 178 on the board, with about 10 overs to go, they have to look at getting 100 in the last 10.
Yep, they have to.
So 270 has got to be the goal. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll see what happens. Yeah, not
Like I
too.
told you, Darren, yeah, like within the first 10 overs, I think your chances are pretty minimal. Because if you're gonna go up against England in very English conditions like today is, you're gonna need a lot. Yeah, but looking at the bowling of the tournament as well. So if you look at the ranking so far, David Warner number two, Mitchell Stark number one. What happened to them at the end of the tournament there against us and then against England? What
What
was
do you mean?
going on with them?
There was, I don't know. They might have just been yeah, they knew they had qualified already, but I guess a lot did rest on
So,
them winning that game, because if they won that game, they would kind of yeah, they would have topped the group and they would have had the easier road to the final, playing New Zealand up in Manchester, where they'd been based for the last two games anyway. So that, yeah, I don't know. I think probably South Africa just played really well that day. I think we all, or our batting and bowling came off that day quite well. Um, and probably, unfortunately for them, yeah, I think they started quite slow in that game. They lost a few early wickets. Their top three didn't really kick off. I think Alex Carey and Steve Smith were the main contributors, and their low order batsmen also didn't contribute down the order. Um, and yeah, South Africa, I think we got off to a relatively decent start. And then obviously Faf and Rassie van der Dussen, yeah, came to the fall, and were, yeah, they kind of wrestled the game away for us. So
power
yeah,
play coming in for the last 10 overs now. I think the Home really needs to start swinging.
yeah,
You can't let the innings sputter out in a World Cup final. You either got to go for it or leave it where it is. You can't just play it out and be casual, because that's not going to work. You're mentioning South Africa there. I mean, like, no South Africans featured in the top five batting or bowling. It's
no,
just like so sad, man. Like, not even KG.
yeah, he was tipped to be one of the best bowlers of the tournament, and yeah, he's nowhere near one of the best. And yeah, it's just unfortunate. I think the entire South African team failed, really. No one performed well enough to, yeah, be mentioned. Yeah, probably my biggest, yeah, well, the two players that I think did the best is probably Imran Tahir. I think he played pretty damn well. He did get hit a bit in a few games, but he did pick up some quite crucial wickets. And then Rassie van der Dussen, I think, yeah, probably tipped to be one of the next captains of South Africa. Yeah, he just showed that, yeah, his batting's really good. He's kind of cemented that spot for himself. Yeah, and then there's just players like David Miller, who I think, yeah, his time has come and gone. JP Duomini the same. Obviously, he's retired now anyway, thankfully. Um, Hashim Amla also needs to be on the way out. We need some new blood. Obviously, Dale Steyn, his career is pretty much coming to a close now as well, with, yeah, being the injuries in there. Um, yeah, so we've got to do some real big searching and what the future holds. I think we've got some big series coming up as well, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the selectors do, and yeah, if they get some of the new younger blood in, and yeah, give them a go.
Yeah, and New Zealand seem to be picking out the field regularly with these big flourishing shots. Another thing I want to talk about is Jofra Archer. What do you think about him? Is he here to stay, or do you think he's just having a good World Cup?
No, I think he's here to stay. I think he's just, yeah, if you look at him, he's just a really great bowler. Like, his action and that is so smooth. It just flows really well. His line and length is generally really good. His speed is up there. Um, so yeah, I think if he's just a good pace bowler. If you think of the likes of a Glenn McGrath in his heyday kind of thing, like, he's just that. Well, I think Glenn McGrath is the epitome of what a pace bowler is. And he kind of just, yeah, reminds me a bit of that. I know it's
No,
pretty.
Darren, I'm not. I'm
It's
not letting you get away with that comparison just yet. Sorry about that.
just an
Retract.
action, just an action.
Honorable member, retract unconditionally.
Okay, okay. But yeah,
Uh,
I think he'll stay around.
yeah, and then the usual suspects in the batting that you'd expect to see there. Warner. I mean, if he paces innings right, it's always going to be there in the top five. Joe Root, another one, special player in and out in all formats of the game. And just the last few people on the bowling. Lockie Ferguson, I didn't expect him to see there with 18. I did expect to see Jasprit Bumrah, another suspect of not. I guess he did play well in that semi-final, but yeah, he could have done a little bit more.
Yeah, it wasn't his best game, but yeah,
Mm.
still an amazing bowler with a very unique action.
You know,
He
no,
looks,
but Darren, the thing is that they arm hyperextend, sort of like Shoaib Akhtar did. Saw a picture of Jasprit Bumrah. It's sort of an advantage because it provides a slingshot action.
it does.
Because once your arm comes over the 90-degree thing, that thing sort of, it's sort of, how can I say, all the
It
ligaments and all
arcs.
the arms sort of created an arch that once you pull it, it sort of creates like a slingshot. If you look at that thing that the cricketers practice within the nets, you put the thing in the ball and you throw it, it sort of does that thing. It's natural, so I guess like murally he can keep it, but yeah, it is of an added advantage. It gives you a bit more pace.
Yeah,
Do
but
you
it's
see that Instagram video of Virat Kohli mimicking his action? It's the
no.
funniest thing ever. It's very funny.
I'll go look at that. But yeah, it's. I think his bowling action is yeah, obviously very unique, and that's probably where he gets all his power from because his bowling run up has just got shorter and shorter throughout the World Cup. I think he's bowling at what a spin bowler kind of run up. So it's amazing how he generates that amount of pace from such a short run up.
Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at Archer there. He got, I think I've seen about three balls in the last over or two just go past the bat a
Yeah,
little bit.
just just
Yeah,
past
they're tentative. They're edging at it, Darren. They're not looking in good shape here. You're gonna have to put all their eggs in the basket of bowling England out for a cheap score. But I think, listen, you're gonna need at least 250, 260 to try and implement that strategy because even if England fall all over themselves, they're still reaching 200, 210. Someone's
yeah,
bound to. That one's gone straight up in the air, but he's lucky.
yeah.
Um,
Like he
yeah,
didn't go to any fielders.
they're going to struggle in this one. Down New Zealand's going to struggle. And I think England have played well in this World Cup, well enough to maybe take it.
Unfortunately, so. Uh, I prefer if they didn't win it, but hey. Um,
Yeah,
but
do you
yeah,
want to? You have a link to post in the comments. Maybe I think Nish will probably jump on for the last bit. Whoever else is
okay.
watching.
Let me try get it. And yeah, we have to mention Mitchell Stark, 27 wickets. That's pretty impressive. Um, so yeah, he did
Yeah,
really
Mitchell
well.
Stark. And someone I wanted to ask you about and get your take on is Cummings. When he did come onto the scene, uh, I just um yeah, when he in South Africa when he arrived when he was like really young, he blew everyone away with the way he bowled. Like
Yeah,
and then I kept looking for him in the Australian squads, but I couldn't find him because of some weird rotation policy. You think that harmed his career and he didn't get to like keep going with that sort of flow that he had coming out of that series where he just blew everyone away?
yeah. I think he's still around. Or he obviously played in a few games in that. Um, yeah, he's a good. But one thing that was interesting about him, I found out that he lost part of his finger when he was a kid because got slammed on the door, and the top of his finger just came off.
Jeez.
Uh,
Was that
so
his
he
bowling
actually, yeah, it's his bowling hand. I think it's this finger here. Um, so yeah, I couldn't believe that, and he's this fast bowler, and he's
gap?
missing part of his finger.
Hope
So
it helps with the slow ball.
yeah. So that was quite amazing. Um, but yeah, he's a really good bowler. I think he's still got quite a few years in him. So yeah, I'm sure we'll see more of him going forward. Um, but yeah,
What do you think? How do you think England? You see, the tricky thing about New Zealand making a low score here is how do you approach chasing it down? Because you don't have a normal game plan here. You don't want to go for 70, 80 of the first 10 overs. There's no need to do that. But then you open up more time for wickets being lost. And then once you get the middle to late over batsmen coming in who aren't comfortable, so to speak, with situations like where you have to bat a runner ball in a World Cup final, you're opening yourself up for big problems then. So how would England approach something like this? I'd say go out and play your natural game and smash it and get it within 35 overs.
Yeah, I think that's probably what you have to do is just go out there and play naturally. So yeah, I think obviously Jason Roy and Besto opening up have been quite aggressive. So I think they'll probably stick to the same game plan. If they don't stick to that game plan, I think then they'll find themselves in trouble because if they start trying to play a game that they're not used to, they haven't played throughout this World Cup, they'll probably find themselves in trouble if they're 2-3 down for 30 odd on the board. Then things become a lot more difficult, a lot more tricky. So I think if they were to go out there, play their natural game, get 50 runs off the last or the first 10 overs or so without losing a wicket, that puts them like on the front foot with a huge advantage. Um, and yeah, if one of their top four, yeah, either gets a century or a biggish score at the moment, they'll win. Um, but yeah, obviously New Zealand will have to come out and just
Yeah.
bowl like they've never
Yeah.
bowled before.
If you look at the scorecard at the moment, 19, 55, 30, 15, 27, 19, that can be seen as a failure because guys are getting starts there.
Yeah, but that also speaks to the pitch. Is the pitch doing something? Is it too a bit too paced? Is it holding up? That ball, yeah, it does seem like the ball's moving a bit. It's got that green tinge to it, and it just seems like all the batsmen have been battling a bit to read it. So it could be that, yeah, the pitch does have some juice in it, and it's, yeah, just being a bit more difficult to read.
And not much batting to come for New Zealand as well.
No.
You think if they start accelerating now, they're gonna make it to 50 overs? Just looking at the top five fantasy players, Shakib Al Hasan #1 by a long way, man. That just shows no one expected him to do
Yeah.
that well. And then the usual suspects.
Yeah, I think at the moment at the going rate, they're probably actually looking at about 240 now in their 50 overs. Um, I think that'll even be a struggle for them. But we saw them the other day; they defended 240. So can they do it again, 2 games in a row? That's the big
You need,
question.
you need a lot of luck to defend a score like that. I think I can't believe I forgot the guys. The guy took the one-handed blinding catch in the gully section during the New Zealand India match. That and the blinding run out as well. You need things like that to happen.
Yeah,
Um,
oh, I just see 4 bars now, so always welcome boundary, even though you don't touch it. But yeah, that's fine. Doesn't matter how you get the runs. Um, so yeah, I think it's going to be interesting next few overs. I think New Zealand will have to, yeah, like we say, at least get or try accelerate as much as possible. England will be trying to keep them as quiet and as close to or as low as possible. And then probably England will come out and, yeah, I'm pretty sure they'll come out guns blazing and try score as many runs as possible in the first 10, 15 overs and like, kind of take the game away. Um, but that's all to be seen. Shall we
yeah,
start wrapping up?
yeah, sure. I'm just trying to. Nish says he's trying to connect with his phone. I'm not too sure what he's doing. Yeah, but I think we
I've
should wrap it
posted it.
there. It's
Yeah,
been about an hour already, so yeah.
yeah,
I'm pretty bummed that we can't do like live commentary. I mean, it would be nice to jump on and do that. But yeah, we can push our luck in the future and see exactly how much we can get away with.
yeah.
Um,
We'll
maybe
yeah,
maybe we can use like incognito names, like like
or
say
we need to use a different platform.
yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah, maybe yeah, maybe one that isn't monitored. I think that BitShoot or BuyShoot or whatever it's
it
called.
doesn't help if you say it and then they know where we're gonna be.
Yeah, but I mean, true that. I mean, it's a good
Okay.
time to jump off before I say anything else. I shouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
yeah,
this is good.
we'll try to do this some more, and then yeah, hopefully, if anyone else enjoys the cricket, they'll listen as well.
Yeah, cool. No, this is fun. We'll do more of these. I mean, it is a Sunday. There's not much else to do.
Yeah, it's just something fun to do while
Yeah.
watching the cricket.
It looks like England will take it. We'll definitely come on and be very shocked if they don't, and have a lot to say on the next cast. But yeah, I think we'll call it there. It looks like England's going to take this one. So well done, Darren. You brought luck to your new home there.
Right. I don't want them to win, so.
Oh! Just as we're about to go off. How's it, Nish? Can you hear us?
Oh, there we go.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good,
Fine,
thanks.
thanks. You.
I'm alright, Dan. So what do you make of the match so far?
So slow. Are you watching at the moment?
Oh no, I was watching just now and then I stopped.
Yeah, what's your? We want to get your thoughts. We've already spoke about our thoughts.
Well, I think with Besto in the England squad, that total that New Zealand have made so far doesn't look too formidable.
Just quick. Rather hold your phone. Whatever you've got it on is just wobbling slightly. So rather just hold it in front of you.
Yeah, so I'm on laptop now, so as stable as I can make it.
Oh, is that the fans' noise? Oh, my bad. It's all right. Go for it.
Yeah. It looks like a very low-scoring game, but I think that it could be that England actually get put in a little bit of pressure with the New Zealand bowling. So you never quite know, because I mean that's what we all thought for the India-New Zealand match. We thought there's no way that New Zealand would make it through. India have really got the game in the hand, and then look at the bowling performance. So it's still an open match. I think that there's still a bit of leeway for the the balance of power to shift. So it should be very interesting. It'll go down to the wire definitely. New Zealand are not going to give up a lot of fight. They'll try and make something of it.
What do you think about South Africa so far in the match? Like, what have people you've been speaking to saying? Are they just like they completely over it, or have they been like they should be action, they need a new coach, and like what have they been saying to you?
Well, I mean, my uncle's a big supporter of South African cricket, and he's not even watching the match right now. That just tells you that the amount of interest that's in it at the moment is very, very low. Given that the performance that South Africa put in this World Cup, everyone's quite disappointed. So they're not even following the match right now.
No, and who do you think would be the best coach for South Africa coming up next? Like, you can maybe choose between Graham Smith, I don't know, Jacques Kallis if he's even available, or let's say someone from the past like a Mickey Arthur type who has like coaching experience. Do you think we should go with someone who's a bona fide certified coach, or do you think we should go with an ex-player to bring that culture in? How do you think South Africa should approach that?
My view would be bringing someone like Graham Smith, because one, he's been there and he's of a recent generation, so it's not too far away from guys that are watching or playing now. They can relate to him in certain instances. Also, he was very good captain, I feel. So we definitely need that someone who has a strong ideas about what the team should be and how the team should run. Yeah, so I think he would be really good, and also I think he'd help our batting. Having someone who's a great batsman in there would really help our batting going forward, because I mean our openers sometimes really fall flat, especially this World Cup. They really haven't been shining as much as we'd like them to be.
Yeah, thanks for calling in, Nish.
No worries.
Yeah, sorry you couldn't join in a bit earlier. I think your phone was having a bit of a problem. But yeah, we'll have more of these and then you can have a chance to phone in a bit earlier.
Yeah, no problem, man.
All right, cheers, man. Speak soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Cheers, Nish.
Yeah, Darren. 202 for 5. Not too much to go.
Yeah, 6 overs. Yeah, look at another 40 runs, 40, 50 runs. Yeah, I think that'll be a decent total, and that'll make things a bit more interesting.
Yeah, cool. All right, we should call it there. We'll catch you guys soon. Got some guests coming up and some new episodes as well lined up.
Yeah, chat soon.